Bent over barbell rows are not a mandatory mass builder. In fact, it is a mediocre exercise if your goal is it to get your back as jacked as fucking possible. Now, let's look at the definition of a mass builder so you know what we are actually talking about. A mass builder is a nuanceless grading system for an exercise of meatheads that are stuck in the past, which can only determine an exercise as good or bad for hypertrophy if it is a hardcore free weight exercise and if it was religiously used by their favorite, roided up and genetically gifted bodybuilder from the past. The reason why this exercise is not optimal for hypertrophy isn't because of some weak lower back epidemic. Bent over rowing will not be hard at all on your lower back if you are at least decently strong on a pure hip hinge variation, and that's what a bent over row is, a hip hinge, and a mediocre one at that. So if a weak lower back isn't the issue of the bent over row not being an optimal or good exercise for hypertrophy, then what is? It actually is motor unit recruitment. The bent over row is the conventional deadlift of the upper back exercise category. There are just too many muscle groups involved. The stimulus just spills all over the fucking place. But at the same time, it gives you no actual meaningful stimulus to any specific muscle group at all. As when more muscle groups get involved in a single exercise, like in the bent over row, the whole posterior chain, the less actual hypertrophic stimulus you can set for all of those muscle groups if that is your goal, or if you want to specifically target an area in your back. You wouldn't do a fucking bench press for your triceps if you want to triceps max your physique. Of course, you would isolate your triceps, and even when doing an isolation, it would be best to create a stable setup to disengage other muscle groups from balancing you in space, as instability, like in a bent over barbell row, also limits your potential to maximally stimulate your desired target muscle group. So why not just do the same for the upper and lower back if you want to maximize your hypertrophy in both of those areas? How? Just motherfucking slice the bent over row into two fucking halves. Just do a chest supported row and a hip hinge, combining both movement patterns separately in a holistic program, instead of just mashing them together and to get a subpar stimulus by that. The benefit of chest-supported rowing variations is that it takes out the lower back from limiting you in terms of stability, which allows you to focus solely on the upper back doing the work, which makes it much easier to create a meaningful stimulus for the upper back, especially as the chest support also allows you to protract and retract the scapula more smoothly. The benefit of pure hip hinge variations is that it takes out the upper back and also arms from limiting you in terms of the weight you can use, allowing you to actually challenge the erectors. The same benefits apply whether you're doing a heavy or even light hip hinge. And within these two exercise categories, you can further modify the exercise to specifically bias a specific muscle group you want to maximally grow. Do you want a more lat, rear delt or trap biased row? Do you want a more hamstring, glute or erector biased hip hinge? The possibilities are endless. Now compare that to a bent over barbell row. The question would mostly be like, do you want to just mindlessly imitate the best bodybuilders of all time with the best genetics and Earth's fucking history and endless amounts of steroid abuse on top of that? Or do you want to actually build a big fucking back? A quick commercial break. If you're interested to maximize your natural fucking potential and get as jacked as humanly possible in the most efficient way possible, make sure to check out my one-to-one coaching services on my website. Get a program which is specifically designed for your specific goals. Or check out my pre-made programs for every type of training split and also muscle building goal you can think of. You can find the link in the description or also comments down below. Of course, it is still a solid exercise. If you love them or if you get really fucking strong at them, it will definitely show in your physique. Bald Omni-Man literally just spams bent over rows and pull-ups, and he has the back of a behemoth. Bent over rows are also good to get some more frequency in for the erectors if you can't recover from 2 heavy hip hinge days within a week and you don't want to do another lighter hip hinge variation like a back extension or a good morning. Just because it is, my opinion, the most overrated back exercise of all time due to it being labeled a mass builder doesn't mean that it is a completely F-tier horrendous fucking exercise, but my point still stands. I literally have to create limitations and also made up situations to deem it a good enough exercise to program. Your emotional attachment to an exercise or its history in bodybuilding lore should not determine your ability to critically think if you deem it a good or bad exercise. You should look at the hard fucking facts.